Hello, hello. You know what day of the week it is? That's my wife's favorite line, by the way. It's Thursday. We in here talking that tech. It's your boy Duran, aka Dr. Digital. I got my main squeeze over here, my man Chris, aka True Tech.
What up, everybody? And special guests will join us on top of our special guest, Napoleon.
Yeah, we got two special guests today. What podcast does that for you besides us? I'm so excited to be doing this. We have my main man, Jamaal, Ryyudo. Not only is he a godlike commentator on the mic, but he's also a godlike player in our hearts.
Sadly. He's becoming
He's
becoming between a few first places in Blaze Blue and Persona. I still remember that one.
But I throwback. I remember when he used to play on pad and then went into like the hyperbolic time chamber and came out on stick and was still nice. It was like one of Colorado's finest. He's no longer in Colorado, but I think all of us still have that Colorado heart deep down inside, each and every one of us. So I'm going to give the floor to Jamaal and let him kind of speak to if you've been following the series, everybody kind of knows we like to hear about why kind of people got into fighting games. What's your history? The floor is yours. Wherever you want to go with it, it's up to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, thank you for bringing me on to your podcast. I know that you have a very important second special guest on here. Hopefully we get to see from them again. Oh. You know what? Podcast is over. I don't want to be here no more. But yo, name's Jamaal. Mostly known by Ryyudo in the fighting game community. I haven't even thought about this until just now, but I've been in the fighting game community since about semi-official level 2010 when the first Blaze Blue came out. And have been doing a multitude of things ever since then, you know, like you all kind of talked about earlier, being a competitor at pretty decent levels, I would say, moving into the commentary space and having commentated pretty much every major tournament out there that I've ever attended, and, you know, even help run events as well as doing a lot of TOing at a lot of those major events and everything like that. It has been one hell of a journey, actually, now that we've made it this far, and now I'm thinking about it in a small package. Wow. 2010, jeez.
Yeah, you feel old yet? I was thinking about that the other day, and I was like, bro, I started in like 08. Like, oh, that's 16 years ago I've been doing this shit.
Right.
Yeah.
And since you started around 08, you probably got around that like 09er energy.
Yeah.
Back
I
in the
started
day.
at like the end of 08, like right before Street Fighter 4 came out, and they're like, you're an 09er, and I'm like, sure.
Back then it was important. Now you're like, yeah, cool.
I was definitely saying that.
Gets my age up.
And it's so funny to be like, yeah, 09er, and they're like, bro, I started in 04. It's like it was so long before.
Ever heard of this thing called an arcade? Yeah. They didn't have bars attached to them at one point. But
That's
yeah,
it. That 20 years, I did hit 20 years this summer, and I felt, I was like, I don't have to say decade plus, 20. Feels nice.
Yeah, it's like
Catmer.
random little things that happen in life that make you realize how old you are. I really think the last two that have happened in like the last year or so is like we watched the Super Bowl and Usher was performing and my wife and I were like, oh my God, Usher, and like kids come out here, and both of the kids were like, who? And I'm like, what do you mean who? Like this is Usher, baby. Right. And then we had to go to the school recently, and when we were at one of our kids' schools, like the administrative staff was my age, and I was like, oh my. Because you just have this picture in your mind that you're going in, and it's like when you were in school, you're like, man, they just feel so much older than me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
When you go in and you're like, yo, they're my age now, dog.
In my head, all
Right.
my teachers, like, I actually had some young teachers, but admins. In my head, admins, like 50 plus always. But I'm like, no, I'm 38, so yeah.
Right.
If you,
We're there.
And like, it was put succinctly by one of my friends at one point of life here. And mind you, this advice was already like, this is already like 7 to 8 years older, where, you know, this is during a time where, you know, we're still attending anime conventions and everything like that. And he said at one point, he's like, I keep going to these anime conventions. I keep getting older, but the people attending aren't getting older. And I'm just like, oh my God. I look around for a second. I'm like, oh my God, I'm the oldest person here. This is, oh, that feels bad. And that was the moment I was like, I'm just forgetting my age entirely. So if anyone ever asks my age, I legitimately do not know the answer. If my wife is there, she'll do the math for me.
Yeah. I have that happen with my wife because she'll be like, "I'm 38," and I'm like, "Babe, you're 36. Like, why are we just adding years on?"
Yeah.
I legit,
Yeah.
like, not gonna lie, for majority of this year, thought I was turning 39 this year. And I
Oh
only
no.
figured it out because I was looking on Facebook and I went on my mom's Facebook to look for something and I saw her last birthday post and she did the. I was like, oh, I'm turning 38. I legit thought I had 1 year left.
Yeah, 40, not next year.
Yeah.
In 2 years, baby.
Yep. I
But you're
was
gonna make
like,
a lot out this year.
yeah. Majority of the year was like, and I was only looking for something on her Facebook because she'll post a link and I was like, let me find. And then I was like, oh. I'm 30. Okay, cool. I gained a little year that way, a little time travel.
It's powered up. Powered up, baby.
Yeah, get that juggernaut power up.
All right, I do want to kind of have a conversation about, like, I know you said you started in like 2010-ish. What got you into fighting games? Like, ultimately, I feel like there's always some story, like you were playing with the homies, you got your ass beat, you were like, I can't be this dude anymore, or like there's always some type of thing. Like, I met Chris in college and I always kind of liked fighting games, and then it kind of like, yo, I just somebody that actually plays, and then it just kind of, went from there. So I always love hearing everybody's story, like, because we're all connected at the end of the day, whether you're playing anime fighters, Street Fighter, tag fighters, 3D, whatever. Everybody comes together. That's what I love about the FGC. Like, at the end of the day, we're a community. So I love hearing from people how you got to this point.
Yeah, so, and almost in a full circle moment here. So I know in a previous week you had CJ on board. So CJ can probably attest this to a little bit. So how you said, like, most people come out and like, oh, I got beat and all that sort of stuff, and I'm gonna get my revenge on them. I actually came off my highest point at that point of my life. I had won my first and only DDR tournament. It was at one of the guys' house. He had a DDR machine in his place, and he just ran tournaments out of his garage. It was fantastic. It was a really great time. Went to go say congratulations to the other guy who got second place. He was salty just the entire way, and I'm just like, okay, I don't even want to, associate with these people anymore for a bit, because I was pretty upset about that. So I went off. I took a nap. I was really exhausted, played out of my mind. I woke up and everyone was moved into, like, their fighting game modes. It usually happened after tournaments and everything like that. I wasn't really playing fighting games at the time. I dabbled in Smash, but that was really all the experience that I had. And one of my good friends, Jason Moses, he kind of sat me down with Third Strike and just was making me play, basically. I was watching some other people play stuff. They were playing, like, Tekken at the time. I was thinking it was Tekken 5 DR. And, he sat me down with Third Strike, and, we played it for a little bit. And by whether it be fate or justice for him kicking my ass the entire night, I landed a hit confirmed super, just straight out. Went to Ken Shoryuken, went to the level 3 super, or the super 3. And he's like, that was really good. I'm like, was it? I don't know. I really don't know what's going on here.
You just looked at him like, I know.
Yeah. In retrospect, I had that moment. If I could go back in a time machine and change anything, it would be that one moment. Anything else? No, forget about it. That's the one moment I'm changing. And so I think he took it upon himself to explore more fighting games with me, teach me more stuff, get me to play a lot more things. And I think just over the course of time, when Blaze Blue finally started coming out, I was hanging out with some of my Smash friends and everything like that, and we were like, this game looks really good. We are really liking what we're seeing here. And then got on board, and the rest is history. Picked the most complicated character possible, and I think that locked me in for a lot longer than I ever expected.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like I have two parts that I want to speak to on this. So first, like, because he played Lychee, for people that don't know. And Lychee is a very difficult character, but I also kind of in the same boat where, like, if you play harder characters, I think it's like a gift and a curse, because it's a curse because it's hard, but at the same time it's a gift because if you can play that character, you can play anybody, kind of thing. Like, it just kind of rolls downhill at that point. So I do want to go back though.
Always something to practice.
Yeah.
Like,
and I think it rolls across into other games too, because if you can get execution down in one game, yeah, sure, the combos might be different, but you have the same fundamental execution across multiple games, kind of thing.
Right. And, like, at the very least, the confidence to say, oh, I know how to learn this, how to go through the process of learning. And especially at that time, I was at my lowest confidence in terms of, like, education, making it further in life and everything like that. I had I didn't fail college, but I left college 'cause I really had no motivation there. Kind of went through a lot of like middle school, high school, being told that, well, not told, but not getting the energy that I could really succeed, that I could learn whatsoever. And when I finally hit something like a fighting game and I could sit down and learn all this stuff, I just learned that I was learning wrong the entire time. And this methodology that I developed for myself by myself was exactly what I needed to start learning more fighting games, start going back to college and all that sort of stuff, because that is such an important and core figure of that said fundamentals.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I'm a strong advocate of like, it's not just fighting games. Fighting games teaches you so much stuff in like life core values. Because like we were literally doing community night, like we do community night every Thursday for Street Fighter. And we were doing our community night last night, and like we had like a beginning player in there asking us questions, and I just told him, I said, dude, the number one thing I can tell you to get better at fighting games is just don't quit. Like everybody quits, and like I understand it's a lot and it's easy to get discouraged with, but if you quit, you're just forever gonna be in that like, oh, I just couldn't, develop the skills to get in fighting games. I truly believe anybody can play fighting games. It's just you
100%.
have to have that passion to do it, kind of thing, and not give up on it.
100%. I don't even think I'm like as you said, like we talked to pre-show. I'm not even that much of a gamer in general. Like I am a gamer. I definitely play games for fun and everything like that. But like the way like almost all of my friends, as much as they play other things, and every person I know has played probably an MMO or RTS, or they play other things. I got you on like Assassin's Creed and God of War. Like I'll play the occasional action like I don't play anything else competitive, anything, and never have. Literally fighting games is all I got. And before when I was a kid, I played Sonic and just a general. But fighting games is something different, and you stick with it. So I wouldn't even say I'm an exceptional gamer. It's just I just kept doing it.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree. It's just stay your path kind of thing. If you stick with it, I really do believe that any person can excel in fighting games. They may not be the best player in the world, but it's kind of like drawing. Like as somebody that's an artist, I remember being younger and people be like, I can't draw. And I'm like, dude, you can draw. You just like, no one's taught you how to do it. Like if you stick with it, it may not be, Da Vinci level type stuff, but like, you can definitely do it. But I do want to circle back because you said something that was interesting to me that I've never, I think, thought of or put together. Because you said you used to play like DDR tournaments. How on earth does that work? Like, do you just like, does everybody play the same song and whoever gets the high score, or is it like brackets like a fighting game kind of thing, and you go into losers, and how does that work?
So it's actually a lot more of the latter. Winner side, loser side, bracket, and everything like that. They do work differently now than how we were running it back in the day. We were running actual brackets back in the day. Okay. So we had our winner side, loser side, and everything like that. But on the scoring system side of things, so DDR has, I'm going to say 6, and I'm going to label them, and I'm probably going to be off by 1, has 6 ratings that you can get every time that you step on an arrow. So perfect, obviously perfect. Great, slightly a level before that, you're just a little bit off. Good, which is a level below that. Almost, and miss. I think there might be a bad in there. I might be getting my games mixed up. But either way, a scale of how close you were to stepping on every single arrow. We attach a point system to that itself. We don't use the in-game scoring system because that's messed up in its own right. It really favors having combos, for example. If you had 99% perfects and 1 miss, and you break your combo in the middle of the song versus the end of the song, it has a completely different score differential to that. So it's a little bit of a messed up thing. So it has its own, okay, perfects are worth I think it was 5 points. Greats are worth 4 points. Almost are worth 2 points, and misses are worth negative points or something like that. We put it into a calculator, we get the score at the end, and then winner of 2 songs gets to move on. And I believe it's one player picks one song, second player picks their own song. If it's not 2-0, then I think we go to random on the third song. And there's different ways of kind of, mitigating on who gets to pick what, if you want to do all random, so on and so forth.
Okay. It's just so fascinating to me because I majorly plays Street Fighter. I used to play Madden competitively too, but it's always.
I need to ask you about that. I've been curious about Madden meta for the longest time, and I have never done the research.
So I'll address that after this.
Yes.
So I went to a tournament out here in Texas 2 or 3 weekends ago, and I didn't play, but one of my friends out here, Blackout David, he plays Tekken. So I went to go
He's
watch.
still around. Holy shit.
So yeah, dude, David. I didn't hear from David for like 5 years. And then
Right?
he moved to like Texas. He finished the school and now he lives out here. And like I'm literally hanging out with him tomorrow. We have a tournament tomorrow, kind of thing. So it's just
He might not remember me, but tell him I say hi.
I will. I definitely will. But I went and I've never paid attention to like a Tekken tournament. And it was so interesting to me because while they were there, like they were playing rock, paper, scissors for like left or right side. Like, oh, I like left side better.
Yeah.
So you would rock, paper, scissors for that kind of thing. And then there would be like rock, paper, scissors for stages. I don't know anything about that either. But it was just like, yo, this is so crazy to me because it's just stuff that like I wouldn't think about in Street Fighter. I just sit down and play kind of thing. Like set the stage to random and call it a day kind of thing. So it was just like so interesting to be in the FGC as long as I have been and to see somebody like a different game and be like, why are they like, what side of the screen do you want? And then like, and basically they were telling me like, oh, when you play Tekken online, you can always be on player one side. And I'm like, what? Like, that's so crazy to me. Like, I figured it would just kind of put you either side, you know, kind of like Street Fighter does. And like, and I would actually use that like as a tactical advantage because if somebody comes up to me and goes, hey, do you have a preferred side? I'd be like, do you? And if they say, I like player one, I'd be like, I like player one kind of thing. Because like, you know, 100%. If you can't do stuff on player two.
Yeah.
That's
as a
all you,
legit
bro.
strategy in Tekken, like I will, especially depending on the character, I'll be like, oh, you like player two side? Let me get this switch throw, and it's like the equivalent of a back throw in Street Fighter 6. I'm like, you got a one player side? Because if you don't, I do. Because I play Street Fighter, I didn't know people only practice one side.
Yeah, it was so crazy to me because like that's like when you first start playing 2D fighters, that's like one of the first things that like if you train with somebody that plays the game, it's like you have to be able to do inputs on both sides.
Yeah.
Like, oh, and I suck at the player two side. You better hit it harder than you are on the player one side, bro, because you don't want to get into tournament and be like, I can't do this, you know, kind of thing. And that comes out quick if you can't, especially when you're playing a good player. So
yeah. And I remember starting out BlazBlue, and I was like, one of the first things I really quickly discovered is like, all right, I did all the training, I did all this sort of stuff. I can kind of land my combos, and I realized like, oh, I'm on the other side. Oh God. And so for like the longest time ever since then, that was one of the earliest lessons I could have learned about fighting games that panned out super well. I always try, anytime I'm learning something new, I start on P2 side, going right to left, always, because I'm like, that is my weaker side, just because I've trained it for years out of that way. And I was like, okay, I'm starting on the P2 side, and then I can go to P1 side where it just feels more natural afterward. It takes half the time to learn anything.
That's fair. That makes sense. Like, I completely agree. Like, I think it's a good kind of thought process to have. I wish more people would have it, honestly, because it is very difficult to do. And it's so weird too, because like you can sit there and practice a combo for an hour and then you just switch sides and your whole timing's messed up and stuff. And you're like, I'm not doing anything different except doing notations the other way.
Right.
And
right.
you're like,
you go look at the inputs. You're like, oh, I was hitting down back, and I have like, oh man, like I still to this day like you got and practice both sides because I'm so bad. I rarely hit down. I'm always hitting down. And from practice, you gotta practice both ways because the next you know, I'm like, oh no, and I got hit because you got a command normal. Oh my god, please, you got a command normal. And you hit the wrong way. You got the wrong way.
Yeah, it's like now that down forward does something very specific nowadays. You can't even get away with that anymore.
Yeah, and there's little things like I actually just recently had to go through that myself because like I was trying to, I don't remember what I was doing. Oh, like I'm trying to learn like feng shui engine with jury and like it's a different hit confirm because normally like, oh, you'd go in her super off of like her up kick and her up kick is a quarter circle. So you can do like quarter circle up kick and then quarter circle again to go right into the super. But like to activate feng shui, it's off a crouch medium punch. So that's just a harder notation for me. And I'm like, I can't, I super. And it was because I wasn't going all the way back. So I was just doing down to down back kind of thing. And I'm like, and you go into training mode and it's something so little. And you're just like, really, dude? I was missing the back kind of thing.
I wasn't hugging the corners.
Right. And Street Fighter 6 is mean about that. It does not, it is very specific about how you want to put your inputs in versus how you put the button in too. So it's like, if you're a little bit slower on one direction for an input, cool. That's completely thrown out the window.
I have literally gotten a quarter circle back input when I was doing quarter circle forward, and I went looked, and I was like, oh, it's all down, down, back. So instead of me doing a good, perfect fireball, I hit this. It's like bop, bop, and it saw a kick. And I was like, oh, Tatsu. I was like, oh, no.
That's exactly what you wanted, right, buddy?
Yeah, I just wanted to fly at you, be negative 20, right in your face.
Good thing damage is really low in this game. Oh, no.
Oh, you're playing Bison? I'm dead? Oh, cool.
Yo, Bison's damage is nutty, bro. Goddamn 8K damage combos. Bro. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing?
Day 1 8K. Day 1.
Yeah. I was actually playing a Bison.
He's like, I need some of that. Me.
Yeah. I was playing a Bison last night, and it's just infuriating because, like, they do scissor kicks, and I don't know who dev'd him to scissor kick, and he lands just far enough away that you can't do anything after. But I'm like, you're a Bison player, whoever made Bison. That's for sure.
We gotta wait till they show up at Evo and you got a little Bison pin. That's what's gonna happen. Yeah.
And it's always funny when you have those characters that you like, oh, this character is that character. And then when that person is not making that character anymore, it's like, oh, there's a huge shift between that player making the character and that player not making the character.
Oh, absolutely.
As a big example, in Guilty Gear, Faust, very, very strong throughout pretty much, the entire series until he got to Strive. And it was like very clearly, I believe it's Pachi, who originally really designed the character, did not design that version of Faust. And it is so clear because it's like, you've missed the point of Faust. It's so insanely bad that, God, I have to change characters now. I have to play. You made me do this. You made me play a new character. This is your fault.
And and you came in like going with Blaze Blue. Like I mean, I had a Light Chi because she had fun combos, but I'm not gonna pretend I was a real Light Chi player in the first game. I was a Rachel player. I just had a Light Chi on the side because her combos were fun, and I liked learning fun combos. And then they destroyed Rachel. I was like, hey, I've always played Light Chi. What are you talking about? I got the B&Bs already. I already had them. I was ready.
You're like, Light Chi group, you're like, hey, what's up, brothers? You're like, what do you mean?
30-second combos. Let's go. I've been here the whole time. Doing just the combos. No neutral, nothing. I just knew the combos.
Yeah. You were good at landing combos. I will not lie. That's one thing I was always jealous of. And you drove me harder to make sure I landed my combos better.
Hey, I live by the moniker of iron sharpens iron. So Chris playing good, you playing good, all that's going to do is make each other
It would drive me crazy to be like, I don't understand. I'm doing so. In my head, I was like, I got the combos. I got the Oki. Why aren't I winning? I have better combos than him. And in my head, that's all that mattered at that time. I was like, I have better combos. It sets up the Oki. I got to do this. I got the Daishiro. I was over here hitting up LK when I'm like, you got to do this. I'm over here. And then I'd play you and Tim, and I'd lose, and I'd just be salty on the drive home.
That actually brings up a little bit of a memory. I know we're getting off topic here, but that brings up a memory of, I don't know if it was you or Jedi Mind Trick who asked me this, but there was some question about frame data way early on in BlazBlue. And it was like, well, how plus is that on block? And I'm like, what? Yeah. He's like, what's the frames on that? What? I had no idea what frame data was at that point of life. And I think that just like, I don't think it was you, because I think it was Jedi Mind Trick, because I just kind of remember seeing his face, and Jedi Mind Trick is very he's good at making faces, let's put it that way. And I just saw like the moment of, I'm losing to this guy.
I would tell you if that was me, because I would again, I would definitely recall that moment, because I was already like, I promise I'm the better Light Chi. Why am I losing? Because in my head, combos and Oki, that's all that mattered. That's all that mattered.
You weren't wrong, especially for that version of Light Chi. You weren't wrong.
But I think that brings up like a cool conversation too. Yeah, neutral. Like, I will definitely say so.
I was
Like
fishing.
Chris kind of reminds me of Kano. We have another guy in our community named Kano who plays, and I always have like this inside joke with him and I, where I say like, if we were to fuse into one player, we would be a great player. Because like I've always had better fundamentals, and he's always been
Mhm.
like an execution monster. And I'm like, bro, if we could just be one player, we'd be set, kind of thing. And but to backtrack a little bit, I think the frame data thing is an interesting conversation because when you played like older fighting games, frame data wasn't like how it is nowadays. Like it's so like pinpoint accurate where it's like, oh, that's -4 on block. Like, I'm safe after that. You can't do anything. And like I used to play with a buddy, and it would just be like, same question. Well, what is that? What's the frames on that? And he's like, I don't know. I just do it. Like and I put myself in this space and I know you can't really do anything after it, kind of thing. And I was just like, okay, like, is what it is, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised that my Jedi Mind Tricks was like, what's the frame data on that? Because Jedi's kind of old OG, so I was surprised but I think times have changed so much at this point that like frames matter,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
part of it's like part of like the ecosystem of games now, like the kind of things you gotta have. Make sure I gotta have like dummy recording. I gotta be able to reset both sides with my select button. I gotta be able to. I mean, now we got save states. I'm loving that. I'm gonna need that in every fighting game now. We get replay takeover finally in Street Fighter 6, which after having that in Plus R, oh my goodness, that helps so much.
Yeah, I'm so hyped for
Yeah.
that, dude.
So I'm
Yeah.
very excited for that. So yeah, it's like one of those things now that's like a regular. I like Street the frame data in the Third Strike guide is wrong. It's literally wrong.
Yeah.
It's off by a frame. So like that's how much frame data mattered. I used to have that thing in my backpack like a Bible, and then I
Yeah.
found out that they're all off by a frame because it counts the frame it hits, not the first active frame. So they're all
Oh.
off by a frame.
That's incredible in retrospect. It's very funny now, but that sucks in the entire time
Yeah.
until then.
Like I swear this was -3. No.
You're like, what? Can you not count to 3? What's wrong with you? You're like, no, I have this book. Please.
But I do think that was like the changing of the guards, because I remember when Street Fighter 4 came out, like Street Fighter 4 kind of like revitalized the FGC. The
100%.
FGC was like very stagnant. It was like in a weird spot.
Mhm.
And then, Capcom releases it and it's like, yeah, man, we still like fighting games. I don't know why. Like they don't make what like other AAA games make, so I get that. And like it makes me sad as like a gamer because like I miss the PS2 days where like, yo, we just used to get fire. Like you would find some like underknown, not well huge studio, and you're like, yo, I loved this game, kind of thing. And now everything is just dollars, and like
Mhm.
we get like 20 releases for a whole year in a calendar year, and it's like crazy, bro. Like it just blows my mind. But like the reason I bring it up is because I remember when Street Fighter 4 came out, I was working at GameStop and they had the strategy guide, and bro, we were like, I remember because John was working with me, we used to study that fucking guide, and then like it didn't matter because it was online, so they'd put out a patch, and then the frame data would change, and you're like, this book is useless now. It's in 6 months and it's trash, kind of thing. So just makes me think of times like that. And I honestly think that like the internet was, I mean, the death of strategy guides, because
Mhm.
you go out and you put out a patch, and then the patch, fixes or tweaks things, and you're like, well, so much for that. Kind of thing.
Yeah. And was I I was playing, or I should say, I'm currently playing through a lot of what I'm calling 3 ups. So basically, I'm checking out the first decade of 3D beat 'em ups.
Okay.
And one game I did kind of check out since it's really early on, and it kind of fits the realm in a different way. Sub-Zero Mythologies. So there was I had like 2 gaming magazines ever in my life, and one of them was the EGM Squared issue with Tomb Raider. It was like talking about Tomb Raider 2, and it had like a small strategy guide in there, but it also had a section of strategy guides for MK Mythologies. I kept this in the back of my head because it's the only magazine I've ever owned in terms of game magazines. Up until the day I finally played it, it was like last week. And I'm like, I'm pulling this thing up and I'm going to look at this thing and see what advice it gives me. And it's like, okay, so when you fight Fujin, he'll finally turn into like a hurricane. Just run away from it, or otherwise you'll die. And I tried, like, I got there and I tried like 3-4 times, and finally someone in chat's like, do you want the answer to this? I'm like, yeah, apparently, I guess. I'm doing something wrong. It's like, oh, you're supposed to hold down at the edge and grab onto this brick. I'm like, the strategy guide was just wrong.
Right.
The actual strategy guide was just wrong. Like there was no patches, there was no changes. It's just wrong. And I'm just like, I remembered this for like 25 years, and you're telling me it's wrong.
The internet spoiled us, man. Yeah, I don't know if y'all remember. I'm sure you do. But you used to get like Nintendo systems, and on the back of the system, it'd be like Nintendo Hotline, and you'd call like this number.
Yeah, I got a whooping one time, bro. I did not know that cost
Oh
money.
no!
Yeah. I called like the PlayStation Hotline.
What was the game?
I want to say it was like Crash Bandicoot.
I was gonna say apparently your whipping wasn't good enough because I'd have remembered that game if I got my.
Well, here's the thing. So I called originally for the game, but when I called, they had some like quiz, and if you got like all the questions right, you would get something. And so I called. I never even got the answers for the games. I just kept calling to do the quiz.
For the quiz.
And then I eventually got the quiz, right? But I didn't know each time you called, you had to pay money per minute. And so the phone bill came, and it was like $500. My dad came and whooped my ass, bro.
Yeah. He just kicked the door in, Terminator style.
I don't remember the game, but I remember that whooping. I remember I was like, I had bunk beds, and so I was trying to be like way to the back of the wall, like use the top bunk, and that belt was coming in the slot.
In the corner.
Yeah, and the belt was coming. And it wasn't folded either. He was letting it go like Indiana Jones.
Oh, he went with a full whip.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He was going Indiana Jones with just pow, pow. I remember that whooping, and then later on,
like Arnie, I'm looking for Chris Jones.
Yeah, I just get a package in the mail like months later, and they sent me like one of those Rumble vests. That's what I had won. Used that thing like twice.
You're like, hey, Dad, you beat me for nothing. Look at this.
Yeah,
this is what that $500 got me.
Yes.
Like, yeah, it was for those who don't know, it was a vest, and it had like the same little rockets or little engines, like the little things in this. If you ever open up a PS2 pad or whatever, you've seen what the little
like a rumble.
What the rumble looks like. The little like bearings that would spin around or whatever. It was a vest, and it would have it like little pockets. It looked like kind of like a fisherman's vest, and it'd have them in there, and you would hook it up to the the PlayStation the same way with and then when you play, your whole body instead of just the controller, you could get the whole rumble right here. It would just rumble all your body. It was
they were wrapping that up to send to Chris, and he probably got his ass beat for this. This is well deserved.
I got whooped for that one, and I came in the mail. I was like, "What is this?" And I used that thing like twice. So whack, bro. It's just shaking on your body. That's it.
Hey, some people pay some good money for that. So
hey, bro, if you
took you did.
Prison.
Bro,
if you took that to a prison, you'd get a lot of rations for that. Because they use those rumble motors for tattoo machines. So you'd have made a lot of money, dog.
Oh, bro. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Okay, so you kind of spoke to it because you said you've been doing like 3D beat 'em ups.
Mm-hmm.
So correct me if I'm wrong. 3D beat 'em up would be like, would the bouncer be a 3D beat 'em up? Okay, I'm just trying to make sure that I'm in like the same.
It's so sad because in my head I was thinking about the bouncer and how bad a game that is, and then
yo, but if you had a PS2 when it first came out, the bouncer was kind of fire. Like when we were younger. Now it's shit. Like
I thought it was bad when it came. And I would see the ads in all the magazines, and it was from Square and everything, and the ads just made it look so cool, so slick, and I was kind of digging the way he dressed, and I was like, man. And then I rented that game, and I brought it home, bro, and I was like, oh my god, this is so bad. I didn't finish it.
What are you talking about? Square Enix would never just make a game and put Final Fantasy characters in it for money.
Yeah, that would never ever happen to anything. Anyways, I'm getting a sound, and what the hell's an Urguys?
Yo, Urguys was fired when you used to be able to run on the beach. That was fun as shit.
I've seen competitive Urguys, and it is fun to watch. I would never play it, but it is kind of fun to watch.
Bro, I can't tell you how many nights we did the stupid ass running on the beach minigame. That's all we did.
That game's kind of cracked. I mean, honestly, like the beach running game, I played that recently as well. But I have played through so they had the main arcade mode, they had the side modes, but they also had that quest mode in there as well. I was laid off a little bit earlier this year. I'm fine now, by the way. And I'm like, well, I have some free time. I might as well just stream a little bit more. And I end up playing through like the entirety of the quest mode. I would not say like within any part of my heart that it was good, but I enjoyed it at the
Okay.
same time.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Bro, there's some games that I played that like aren't reviewed very well, and I enjoyed the ever living shit out of it. So I get it, dude. Like there was a game back in the day called Wet, and it had Eliza Dushku in it as like the lead, and like it was getting like 6s and 7s, and I loved that game. I beat it like 3 different times. Like,
Damn.
that's just how it is. Like, I don't know, man. I get it. So speaking of which, I know you don't play FGC. I don't want to say you stopped playing FGC. I say people take breaks. We may see you in maybe 5 years and maybe 10, but
we'll
for
never know.
now, we're on a break. So I know you're not playing as many fighting games now as you used to, but I know you also dabble in, because for people that don't know, Jamaal is godlike at the random. Like if you ever go to like a fighting game tournament and they do like a random game tournament, if Jamal's in it, I would just drop out. Like, honestly.
It's won several big ones too, by the way. Like,
Yeah.
Frosty, Combo
So
Breaker.
he's like, there's a character in Tony Hawk's American Wasteland that I refer to in situations like this. His name is Useless Dave. And not that he's useless as a person, it's just he's got a ton of useless information. That's how Jamaal is with like random ass games. I'm like, dog, how is this dude so good at everything? Like, and it's obscure, off the wall kind of games. So I know you're not doing FGC stuff anymore. So what is gaining your attention right now? I know you're streaming. We can also put like a link down to his stream. His stream is super entertaining, and his like, you never know what he's gonna be playing, and that's like my favorite kind of thing about it. So what are you currently playing? Are you doing stuff that you're streaming that you're only playing? Are you doing stuff when you're not streaming that you're enjoying too? What's that kind of looking like right now?
So yeah, I think I kind of want to answer that in like 2 different ways. So recently I had taken a trip out to Colorado, and I spoke with a friend out there. Shouts to my friend Bowser. They were actually talking about their own kind of like fighting game burnout that they were going through. And I think it really parsed it out in a very specific way of what I've been doing since I've dropped out of the FGC, where they said that when they dropped out, they said, okay, well, what did I like about doing fighting game stuff? More specifically in terms of activity, and not what was I actually doing at the time. And so it maybe parsed it down to say, okay, well, I like playing games, like sitting down studying games and everything like that. And I think I've moved that energy over to, for example, playing a lot more games on stream in general, but, speed running. And I think that's been kind of taking a lot of my time as of recently, because it's like, cool, I can sit down, I can grind something over and over and over again to execution perfection. I can find optimizations, and it really clicks that part of the brain that makes me feel really good about actually pressing buttons and everything like that. And on the other half, I like entertaining people. I legitimately like talking to people, talking to a crowd, doing public speaking, so on and so forth. And so that energy has moved more into streaming aspect stuff. And it's just like, cool. I do like being able to entertain on my own, time, schedule, whatever, and not having to compete for time on the mic at these major events. And, it's decided by someone who may or may not feel the same about how I do my commentary. So it's like, now I spend my time a lot more streaming, playing games on stream as well. And I think kind of a big thing as well is that for the past like 10, 12 years, how long I've been doing FGC stuff, I have missed out on a lot of games. And I also went in a very weird direction when it came to playing games when I was younger, where I didn't play any of like the popular games. Like I only played Sonic the Hedgehog series, like 1, 2, and 3 last year for the first time.
Wow. Okay.
So I have a lot of catching up to do. It's basically what I've been doing, just catching up this entire time.
Again, I'm not mad at you. I don't think I've ever played, like, there's a lot of series I could get roasted on. I don't think I've ever played a Zelda game.
Same. Like realistically, like actually sat down, like, and like invested time. Same.
I played enough. What was it, Twilight Princess to hack a Wii? That's the amount of Zelda I played.
So like I'm currently running through Borderlands. We went and saw the Borderlands movie, and I know the Borderlands movie got like roasted. I actually enjoyed it. It wasn't the best movie ever. It was like a solid 6. I had a good time. It doesn't
Mhm.
like I don't need to watch a movie, and it needs to be a Christopher Nolan movie
Hey,
every goddamn
I
movie I
made
watch.
Morgan
Like
watch Street Fighter the
Right.
movie recently. Okay,
yeah,
and I was
and so I
so
love
Let's
Street Fighter the movie.
go.
It's
I
shitty,
love
but
that movie.
it's good shitty. Like it's
yeah.
bad, but you
It's
know it's
still
bad when you're
it's
watching
still
it.
really
Like
funny.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's great. So I'm revisiting all the Borderlands, and like I have had time in Borderlands, but like I'm playing Borderlands 2 right now, but like I'm kind of doing the same thing where like I'm actually grinding drops and bosses and trying to get legendaries, and like I'm actually like invested into the game kind of thing, as opposed to like I beat the storyline, kind of thing. So I get it. And I do feel like speed running actually kind of, I don't want to say like is the same as fighting games, but they kind of like relate with each other
I can see
because
the
it is
differentiation.
that like pixel perfect execution
Mm.
type thing. And I have a bunch of friends that like we all know Kevin speed runs, and I don't know if you guys ever watched Kevin speed runs. Like his Sonic run was like probably one of the best awesome games done quick runs I've ever watched, kind of thing. And it was not even that like the execution was the best or anything, but it was fun. Like you just
Mhm.
sat down and watched, and like he's like, I want you guys to get live. We're gonna have a good time. I don't want people to get quiet. Like I want applause, and I think that kind of is like fighting game kind of as well, because when we were playing, we came from that time where like,
Yes.
bro, you come to Colorado and people were leaving crying. Like,
Yeah.
It was yes. This is back when I used to keep a kendo stick in the car just to slam against the floor, just to
yeah,
make noise.
yeah, it's just different
I
times, man.
forgot
That was
about the
like,
kendo stick. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
I would keep
yeah,
that just to make noise. I was like, if I ever get pulled over, it's a kendo. It looks like a wood stick, so it's never no issue. But literally, I use that just to slam against the floor, so you can hear slap, slap. Cause I grew up watching wrestling, and I was like, I'm gonna be
yeah.
like Sandman. I'm gonna come in here, I'm just gonna slam it against the floor and make noise. Cause Springs was always a little bit smaller than Denver, so we had to come
Yeah,
through. Had
we
to
had to try harder, man. We did.
had
We
to do
had
a little
to.
something.
All six of us, we was loud as shit, man.
The original Vuvuzela.
You- Straight from the south, baby. That was you were all beautiful for it too.
So you said you're playing like you're speed running and stuff. So are you focusing on a speed running game right now, or is it just kind of you're going through and playing Sonic because you said you haven't played him before, or is it like what's your focus right now?
So it's kind of a two-part focus. So I kind of like a set of games like streaming games. I'm like setting aside. I'm specifically playing, for stream. And that's the 3 em ups I'm doing right now. So the first decade of like 3D beat 'em ups, I'm just going through it. I've kind of done like little journeys like this before as well. Like earlier this year, I did food sponsor games, for example, and just went through a bunch of food sponsor games to see what people were making around those times in terms of video game
Oh, the
style.
food
So
sponsor game, like a 7 Up game.
Yeah, like Cool Spot,
yeah,
bro. Yeah,
Oh, what?
like
I
Cool
used to,
Spot.
I legit liked Cool Spot as a kid. I had the game,
Cool spot.
and
I
I
have to look
legit
this
like
up.
playing Cool Spot.
Cool Spot was not the worst of them, that's for sure. They got bad. Some got good actually.
All
There was
right.
a McDonald Land, Treasure Land on the Genesis. That one is made by Treasure, the same people who made like Gunstar Heroes,
Yeah.
Mischief Makers, stuff like that. That was I didn't know that existed, and it was good. And I'm like, what? Why is this so like legitimately like I would recommend this to other people level of good?
Okay. Well, I know like Gunstar Hero is like one of
Hmm.
Kevin's favorite games, and it's I never even heard of it until he started running it, kind of thing. And
Hmm.
people give me shit because like I'm kind of in the same boat as you two. Like I played a bunch of games growing up, but like I was a sports kid. So like I
Ah.
played football, like and when we weren't playing football, I was playing basketball and just like we were always outside, and then we only went inside like when it was dark out. Like it's nighttime, we can't see the ball anymore at this point. Let's go play whatever. And then we were playing Madden or, a lot of like SSX, like those extreme sports kind of games like NBA Street, things like that. So like there's so many games that like I've never played. I've never played a Final Fantasy. I know that sounds
Hmm.
crazy.
I don't
I
blame you,
have
honestly.
favorite characters in Final Fantasies, and that's just because I'm like I like how they look.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how it worked. I mean, that's how they get you. I didn't
Yeah.
play.
Hmm.
I had, dude, had I played an earlier Final Fantasy when I played 10? I know 10 was the first game I ever bought with my own money.
Like
Oh
speaking of
wow.
10, Titus is one of my favorite characters, and like I don't remember who I was talking to, but they were like, "Dude, if you actually played the game, you'd probably hate Titus." And
He's
I'm like,
alright.
"He
Nah.
looks dope. I
Nah,
like
he
how he
alright.
looks."
I don't think
Nah,
so.
you
I
wouldn't.
don't think so.
Yeah, you
He's
wouldn't hate him.
fine.
Yeah, he's fine. He ain't as fire as a designed look for sure. Like
Well, I
after you
will
Hmm.
play the game,
say,
you'll find someone else. But he's not. He ain't. I don't hate him.
Like I watched Advent Children, and that was my first FF7 experience, and I hate Cloud because of it, because he was awful in that movie. He was such a crybaby, and I can still to this day I cannot get over Cloud and Tifa's awful dilly dally shilly shally fucking conversation.
Yeah, it's really weird because when you really look back on, like, you know, especially from an adult lens, in my case, what the characters actually were like in Final Fantasy VII or Final Fantasy VII Remake, they're goofy characters. Like Cloud's, like, he's supposed to act all serious stuff like that, but he's a really goofy guy actually, and it's like they really just took that all out of him when it comes to Adventure. And it's like, we just need Cloud to fight and or kiss Sephiroth, and that's all we ask for. And they didn't let him kiss either, so it was like, well, there's already 2 points off as well.
Which is funny because he is supposed to be this super serious character in Advent Children, and then like I was mind blown when I found out there's like a mission where he has to wear a dress and he goes on a date and all this. I'm like, oh, how do you make him this Advent Children badass, you know, throwing phones in water kind of thing, but in the game, like, you go on dates, you know, in a dress and, you know, fun stuff like that. So it's just funny to kind of see it, like, from an outsider's perspective, because I never played a Final Fantasy, you know, kind of thing like that. So, all right, to switch gears a little bit, because I do want to talk about this, because we got about roughly 15 minutes left. So I know we kind of spoke about it earlier. I know you used to do, like, commentary for streams. What kind of, like, two-part question, what got you into it? And then second, do you have any advice for people that are looking to get into it? Because I think this is a cool opportunity, because a lot of the conversations we have is like helping people get better. We had a guest on, my buddy JV was on, and it was like how to get into esports kind of thing. So I think this is our really first opportunity to speak with somebody. I know Chris does commentary too, but like maybe it's a conversation both of you guys can kind of address. Like, if you had somebody that was new to get into stream commentary, what would, like, your advice be? Or do you actually practice it? Or, like, I'm curious to see how this works.
Yeah, I got nothing for this. I talk at Aki, but Jamaal took it to the next level to, like, you know, not only to take it to the next level, but took it to a level where he started presenting himself on stream as professional. I'm gonna show up in, like, I'm coming up in my t-shirt and everything, and I'm just talking as a relatively decent player. Jamaal took, like, he would change, he would inflection, cadence, working with different people, presenting himself, again, professional, dressing up. Shout out to, if you didn't invent it, first person I've seen was using the FGC tag. So like he took it to.
I saw it already when he flexed earlier. I was like, damn, Jamaal, all right, bro.
And it's funny, and, like, you forget until you just look at a random old picture at, like, Tivoli, and I'm like, oh, I forgot Jamaal used to be skinny.
So let's just say it's not sun's out, guns out. Let's just say the sun is always out for Jamaal, because the guns stay out.
God, you know, those DDR days were kicking my ass when it came to weight. It's like, it kept me low, and I didn't even appreciate it back then. I'll tell you that right now. It's like, body image issues and all that sort of stuff.
I know we're gonna go back to the stream thing, but you said DDR and it made me think of bar, no bar.
How do you want me to answer? At the time or now?
What you think? I'm assuming at the time it was no bar.
At the time, it was begrudging bar.
Okay, all right. Because that's a conversation I never had, and then I went and played DDR for the first time like a month ago, and down the street we have an arcade, and I was like, yo, I don't know how you people do this with no bar, because this is nuts, dude. Like, you got to be in shape, bro.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, like, now, back then it was begrudgingly bar. Now it's 100% bar. If you're not grabbing the bar, why are you doing this to yourself?
Yeah. All right.
But like, you.
Sorry, back on stream. I was just curious.
Yeah. I was also gonna say, like, Blue Thunder does not play with bar to this day.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't know how he does it.
I mean, to be fair, he still looks like relatively the same. That's why. There you go. That's his workout. That's his cardio.
That's that anime shirt power up, bro. You know, Blue always got them nice button ups.
Bro. That shirt still fits.
The button ups that don't button.
Yeah.
But shout out to Blue, wonderful guy. Yep. Still playing fighting games too. But yeah, to get back to the stream commentary. So what got me into it was kind of a two-parter thing. So the first time I ever did commentary at a major event, Shoryuken who was helping run Northwest Majors, rest in peace. The Northwest Majors. Shortjuke is okay. He's alive.
Yeah, yes.
Let me be clear.
I feel like that's a next conversation because I do want to address that too.
But yeah, he just at some point he's like, hey, can I invite you out to Northwest Majors? And he's like, I want you to be able to play more people and hang out and more of that stuff. I'm like, well, I can't really afford it. I'm in college right now. I don't work an extra job. Basically, winning tournaments right now is my living money. And he's like, no, I'll come in, fly you out, and if I can get you on like commentary or something like that, because we don't have a lot of Guilty Gear knowers out here, that'd be great. So he flew me out there, went ahead and did commentary, and at that point, I met Dacid Bro, one of the Californian commentators, and he was trying to teach me lessons on mic. I was completely bouncing off it because I completely misconstrued what needed to be done on the mic because I was trying to call shots, which wasn't what you're supposed to be doing. It's like you're supposed to be commentating the match and not saying that someone's done. And so we talked in the hotel room afterwards. He was giving advice, and he gave me that advice. Like, you don't know what the players are thinking and are going to do next. You need to commentate more in the moment and only, talk about the future. And that point onward changed entirely about how I proceeded in commentary from then on out, which is a huge difference from when I first got on commentary. And some people may still remember this, where we were in Safe House one tournament, and Injustice was on the stream. And someone I don't know how I got asked, but someone's like, hey, do you want to comment, or does someone want to commentate Injustice? And I said, sure, I can say words. I said words, and some of those words included, and I quote, niggas in space. And some people, mostly Justin from Spring as well, has never let that go. And I find it every now and then. I'm like, I'm embarrassed. But I'm like, what? I came so far. This is character growth out here.
What's funny is you just ruined all NIS games for me from this point forward, because I will forever see an NIS game and think niggas in space now.
Niggas in space. Never forget.
That's good. It's funny though, because I feel like Chris had a similar experience, because I remember him getting on the mic. I don't know if it was you or
someone, but one of the tournaments at the lounge, and I was commentating Persona, and I was just shitting on Persona the entire time on the house mic, and I can't remember. But they came up to me afterwards, and it's like, we understand you don't like the game, but you're publicly shitting on it while you're trying to while you're commentating it. And I was like, you know what? You're right. You are. I think I recall being gracious about it. I could have rewritten history in my head, but I think I recall being gracious and be like, you know what, you're actually right. If I'm gonna shit on the game, I shouldn't be on the mic. I should just be commentating what's happening. And I think I try not. I don't think I do that anymore. I mean, I pretty much probably don't have the ability to commentate a game I don't like these days. But Persona turned into a game I ended up not liking. So I still had some of the knowledge to be like, yeah, I can talk about it. And that's one of the things I try now. I just try to give like my perspective instead of just being like, you should do this. And I try to bring down how much I would hear, because I will do that. I would hear, instead of just being this. Look out for this. Okay, I would shimmy here. I would look out for the super. Like try to not put yourself into it, especially me, because I've in my head thought about, hey, should I make a reel? Should I do these things? And I just don't have, like, I'm still getting better, and I'm like, I gotta see, can I get to the level I'd like to possibly reach. So I've more or less given up on doing these other things, but I'll still stream at Aki. I'll jump on the mic, no problem. And I've tried to a little bit like, it's not me. I'm not playing. What should they have done? Not with here. Just look out for the super. Okay, he has full bar. DP could happen here, and then it takes me doing it out of it.
Real talk. These two are being super modest, but like, commentary is hard as shit, dude. Like, if you've never done it, like, it is difficult. And I know, because like, people that watch sports or esports or streams, like, it's just talking. Like, bro, it is very difficult, especially because with like fighting games, it is very fast paced, and it is just, bro, it is a lot going on. And it is like, Jamaal kind of spoke to, where it's like, bro, you don't know what these people are going to do. So it's even harder to try to go out there and try to like, oh, they're probably gonna do this kind of thing, and then they don't, and then you're like, well, now I look stupid, kind of thing.
Right.
But like we did I don't even remember what it was, but we were doing some event with Marauders, and I was just helping out, and I was gonna do like commentary, and I think it was like Mustaine and Chris and myself. Bro, I think I said like 2 sentences the whole night because I was just like, bro, this is so difficult, and you have to have the right energy for it, and like it's just a different approach to kind of games. But it's also hard too because like Mustaine's a godlike commentator too, so like to get on the mic with Mustaine, like it's intimidating because he is good at his craft. So like between the three of you guys and trying to get on commentary, and I've never done it, like nah. I'll just run technical shit. Let me know and I'll announce matches. We'll call it a day kind of thing.
Yeah. And to even go back to like an earlier point that Chris is making, where, it's like, oh, the aspect of like, the easiest thing to say is, well, I would do this. And yes, that is the easiest thing because you can look over to stream chat and everyone's telling what they would do instead of what Daigo would have done in that situation. Yeah. And so you have to remove yourself from that and say, well, okay, here's another, here's what the possible situation can be. And then you kind of get to that third level, which is like the really, truly good commentators who say, all right, they know what the situation can be. They can craft a story around why that decision may have not happened and say, oh, in that previous round, we saw this, but they, didn't get any reward off it. So they thought maybe they don't know that and went a little bit further overextended. And then they got punished for it because, they were looking out for it now. It's like, now you make a story around that whole bit. And that's like that level 3 aspect that you want to try to reach at the very end.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of even goes back to your earlier question of like the part 2 question of like, advice for anyone who wanting to get into commentary and everything like that. I think the biggest thing right now is very similar to what you were talking about in terms of fighting games earlier and everything like that. Get out there. There are so many online events right now who, yes, they might have people who are, constantly on commentary, no matter how big or small the event happens to be. But, people are human. We get tired. We want to take breaks too. And we also want to see other people succeed in the space as well. It's not some sort of, walled garden type of thing. See what events that you can find online and see if you can get yourself out there, commentate to yourself, do your own streams and commentate to yourself while the event's going on. It is absolutely worthwhile to practice, but it's also absolutely worthwhile to ask and try to get yourself out there, because if you don't do it, then you're going to be significantly worse off than the people who started to try to do it and worked out it, parts and pieces. They're going to still be parts and pieces ahead of you versus doing nothing at all.
Yeah, for sure. And the big thing too is like online's great too, but also support your locals. If you're playing like actively, like, go out to your locals, because you'd be surprised, man. And especially like when it comes to like community growth, like in those smaller communities will remember that, like if they get big and they're probably going to take you along the way kind of thing. And like that's the whole point. And I think the hardest thing too for people is like to get out of that comfort zone and be okay with doing different things. And maybe it is just you have a buddy that streams and you get on stream with him, kind of thing. And there's like steps to things, and I really do think doing online and locals and things of that nature can really help you achieve those goals that you want to do. So we're at the kind of end. We got about 5 minutes left, so I have one of 3 questions. You can pick your poison.
Oh, okay.
So first time ever. Normally I just shoot it off and what you get is what you get. But tonight we're going to do a little bit different. So 1, what's your proudest achievement so far? 2, what is your favorite memory? And 3, what is your favorite fighting game of all time?
I'm actually going to answer number 3. I'm going to stay humble. I'm going to answer number 3. And maybe surprising most people, I still think to this day, despite me not really playing it and all that sort of stuff, King of Fighters 13. I spent
so hard.
It's so hard.
So
it was
especially 13.
It was that was the hardest game I have ever taken the time to ever learn. I think it was legitimately 8 to 9 months of consistently traveling out to, locals, playing online, training at home, before I finally, something clicked in the game and made me go, I understand how to play this game now. Not that I was good, I just understood how to play it, and I can finally start playing the same game that everyone else is playing. And so, but at that time I had so many walls ahead of me. Christian was spending a lot of time playing that game. There was the Kings of Co. weren't even Kings of Co at the time, but between Pedro,
Dude,
Daniel,
Pedro's such a monster.
Edgar, and like I finally was able to barely vault over Edgar and sometimes Christian, but like that game was so rewarding to finally learn, have like a cast of characters, understand how the game works, get all the system mechanics underneath me. It made me feel, to a certain degree, invincible when it came to fighting games. Absolutely not true, obviously, but it was such an empowering, end of 8 to 9 months that I will love that game forever. And it still is really fun. And I still remember like a lot of the craft of that game in the back of my head. Even though when Persona 4 Arena came out and I immediately jumped over to that to be able to play that, it still remains one of my favorite games up to this point. Very closely followed behind that Guilty Gear Xrd.
Okay. And KOF to me is like that. Bro, if you could play KOF, especially 13, you could play any 2D fighting because that shit is hard.
KOF is like KOF 13 specifically is like the only game I played where I'm like, guess I can't play this character. Where I'm like, I'm over here, I'm working hard. I'm like, guess I'm just gonna have to go ahead and play Mr. Karate.
Yeah,
because I don't got the combos in me, bro. And I'm over here trying to play Ash, and I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's, you know what? We're gonna go ahead and play Mr. Karate. It's been a week and I haven't landed this combo once. Mr. Karate, it is.
Yeah.
I've never.
And then once you land that combo, who cares?
Yeah. Any other game I've never had that happen where I'm like, guess I missed out playing this character, not because I don't like him. Just now, I literally don't have the execution.
So funny that you bring up Persona because Persona is actually one of my favorite fighting games. I love Persona, period. Persona 5 is like in my top 5 games of all time. Like I love Persona. So I played the shit out of Persona 4 when it first came out. And the only reason I stopped playing it is because I just don't think I'm a good enough player to balance 2 games at once. So I'm notorious, like I will pick up a game when it first comes out and I'll grind it for like 2 or 3 months. And I'm like, I'm still shit at Street Fighter. What am I doing? Kind of thing. And I go back to playing Street Fighter. Because I did it with like Persona. I did it with Marvel. I still play Marvel 3. Marvel's fun. But Marvel's also one of those games where I'm like, I watch it and I'm like, oh, I love Marvel. And then I go and play it and I'm like, that's why I don't play this shit anymore. Because you one mix or one mess and you're happy birthday and you're like, I'm down to one character.
You can enjoy it. That's honestly what Persona 4 turned into with the shadow characters is what made me realize, oh, this is not the type. I can watch it, but it's not the type. Any game where it's like, oh, I just got touched and I'm dead. Nah, give me a chance. Even with Marvel 2, I'll do a Marvel 2 because I'm like, hey, you got to reset somewhere. You got to something. Marvel 3 is like, oh, zero touch me? Oh, damn.
Yeah. Bro, I had that happen at Evo.
Take a
real
5-way mix-up?
2 years ago when we went and I ran into a Zero May Cry player, I was like, I only signed up for the game because they had Marvel there. And I was like, I'm going to support it because I love this game. And this dude was playing Zero May Cry. And I was like, I don't know how y'all play this at high levels because it's insane, dude. Like, it's absolutely insane.
But Persona, I played to not play the game.
Yeah.
Yep,
right.
I just watched it, enjoy. I was watching Remoa earlier today. He was playing Viper and Amy, and I was like, there you go. Pretend I'm vicariously through you.
Because I love wrestling. I still watch wrestling to this day. I don't watch it nowhere near as much as I used to, like growing up. But man, I played Kanji. I didn't even play Persona 4, the actual like RPG when the fighting game came out. So I played Kanji because I was like, this dude's out here busting people in the face with a steel chair. And I loved that, like he had the you like that, and the speech bubble came up. Dog, that shit was so dope. That was so fire.
Cool. Like that voice line still was in my head.
Yeah, it's so fire. And the only thing I hated about him, and I don't know why they do this. I understand why they do this, but now I understand the struggles of grapplers.
They don't deserve nothing, bro. Nothing.
Why his fucking run took so long to start. I'm like, is this dude's shoes stuck in the ground, or like what's happening here, bro?
You gotta run cool.
Got butter on them shoes.
You gotta run cool. You can't be
like, he's just too much muscle, man. You try to run, and he's like, it's a lot of mass to get moving, man. I get it.
With that chair, just
he's off balance too. He's carrying a chair in one hand. It's like, oh, nothing's right, and he has to keep that jacket on him too.
Yeah, exactly. I was literally thinking, you can't run too fast. Jacket flies off. That's not cool.
Yeah,
you know,
he has to run backwards and grab the jacket. Yeah.
Funny story. That's actually one of my favorite things about characters. So like Ram's my favorite character in Guilty Gear. If you give anybody a captain's coat and they don't wear that shit properly, bro,
I,
I mean,
I think
One Piece
I won't lie. That's
Doflamingo,
always a
the
cool
shoulders,
design.
fire,
I'm always
so
with the off the
fire.
shoulder design. I love that you. I love that you can like get the people buy like they'll do like anime collections and they'll have the jacket with the strap in there so you can just be like and you can wear it just like this. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like
so
yes I do.
good.
Yes I do want to be part of Whitebeard's army and have the jacket off my shoulder.
So I know we had this conversation and we said that we would never hate on a game, but I gotta ask the question. You said you're not playing fighting games. We're out of time, but we're gonna go a little bit past.
All right.
Does Strive make you quit the FGC, bro?
No, absolutely
All
not.
right,
I love
all right,
Strive
I didn't want to dig, but
I
I
love
definitely I saw
your
your original post and I was curious, but I'm like, it's not my place. But I was like, man, it sucks that you felt that way where you felt because I felt burnt. I felt like I have felt multiple times where I'm like, I think I'm done, and then something pops up and I'm not. And so it is. It is also always weird to be like, someone says they're done, and then they're kind of sort of done.
Yeah. I will say this. I love fighting games. I love playing them. And I know this is going to sound so cheesy, but the reason I play fighting games is for the friends. Like it's something about like just sitting
Fuck y'all
down, jamming out
niggas.
games with the homies. Jesus. And then going to tournaments and cheering on my friends and seeing them prosper and at the end of the day, if they lose, you like what Chris said. Fuck 'em.
Yeah, I agree. Like the reason I've lasted this long is 100% the friends because like I've said it multiple times. Every serious friend I have outside of like one is because of fighting games.
Yeah.
Like if we had ended up having a ceremony when we got married, or if we eventually have a ceremony later on or something like that, pretty much everyone who would be standing up with me would be because of fighting games.
Yeah.
Like,
And that's funny because that's how like Jamaal is. Like I've never played an anime fighter. I've never played with you guys. But every time we went up to Denver, I was always saying hi to Jamaal. It was like, bro, we could not talk for 6 months, and I see him, and I'm like, hey man, dog, kind of thing. And that's just like that's what kind of brings it together. Even like this, how the podcast kind of started. We were just talking maybe 4 or 5 months ago, and then I was like, man, it'd be dope to have Jamaal on here. And I just reached out to him, like, dude, you down? And he was like, yeah, absolutely, let's do it. Like, and that's just kind of what it is. Like, the fighting games are just like the cherry on top. It's the people I met along the way, and like having those interactions and just having fun, and especially like when you go out of state. It's even more so because when I'm seeing my homies bust ass on people that aren't in the community that we are close with, it's even better. So like it's just that proud dad tier.
Yeah. And I mean, even to like Chris's point, and not to be like a hidden person or anything like that. The reason I left isn't really anything special. It's just literally my brain just said, we're done. And that was legitimately it. But in the meantime, I'm still watching friends stream stuff. I'm still watching tournaments. I like seeing people, like you said, all the friends and everything like that. I love seeing everyone succeed. I told everyone, it's like, hey, just because I'm not doing anything in the FGC doesn't mean I don't want to hear about what's going on in the FGC.
Right.
Please talk to me about your accomplishments, what you're proud of. Show me videos of really cool stuff you're doing. Because that part about being proud about my friends has never stopped. And so I am still watching a lot of stuff and taking in a lot of stuff, even if I'm not playing or commentating or anything. And like you said, it's seriously the friends we made along the way, and I just love that so much. That proud tear dad moment.
And that's what like I tell my friends, even in like that I still see in person and stuff like that. I'm like, bro, like I play or do the hobbies that you do so I can hang out with you. Like I got into disc golf a year ago and I was like, bro, I'm awful at disc golf. I am awful at it. And it was like, dude, I'm doing this to hang out with you guys. I don't give a damn about disc golf. Like, I don't. Like, it's just not my cup of tea, but it's something I'm doing because, my friends are doing it. And it's like, I want to have those memories because I just don't want to get old and be like, man, I wish I would have, or I wish I could have done this, or, type of thing. And that's what like fighting games are to me. It's like, I don't think you ever quit them. You're like, I don't play them anymore. It's just, I still enjoy watching them. I still enjoy my friends that play them. We still, have a good relationship. So just because you don't play the game anymore doesn't mean,
I still watch a ton of Guilty Gear. I haven't touched Guilty Gear in a good year and a half. Someone tells me Eno's on screen, I'm gonna go watch. Like, like it's one of those things. Like I'll watch Marvel 2, Marvel 3. Like you just enjoy and then of course Conjures memories, and then you're talking with people in the chat, and you have that camaraderie again. But I'm not gonna put myself through that now. I'm gonna play Street Fighter 6, a little bit of Melty Blood, and that's it. Cause I'm not gonna torture myself with 4 or 5 games like I used to, and I'm gonna drive up the 2 weeklies in Denver, and I'm gonna get
Be up
second
there
place
all
because
day.
I'm playing mad games and mini mats playing Merkava.
Yeah.
I'm getting noodly armed.
Bro, I don't even play Strive, and I still get done. Like tournaments finish, and I still go look at results to see if there's a Ram in top 8, so I can go back and watch the match. I don't even play Strive, but I still like, yo, how did Ram do?
I don't even
I'm
have it
curious.
installed. I'm still following Daru. I'm still
Yeah.
following him, looking to see how he did.
Yeah. All right, so we're at time. This was awesome, Jamaal. I'm super happy that you joined us. I'm really excited. Maybe we even have you back on in the future, and maybe we can do like a kind of stream commentary tutorial guide, maybe.
Hey, I
I
was
don't
happy
know.
to help out. Like I said, it's always about the people out there. So please hit me up anytime.
And we'll definitely put your Twitch stream in the link as well in the bottom. We'll have it in the bio
Down
area.
there, guys. Down there. With the
Definitely
links.
stop by, and I'm pretty sure this posts in September. So
Hey, a little
September. Just saying.
Little September, get in there, guys.
Do what you will with that. Just saying.
If you speaking of which, guys, you ain't got the cami color yet. You see Jamal's online. You see, hey, what Twitch.tv/moonmarauders is affiliate now. Maybe you need to go in there, get that sub in there. Go ahead, go get in there, get your cami EX, your purple. You gotta have the costume too already. So don't do what I did, because I don't have any other. I have one, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll go ahead and redeem this color. I like purple. I like pink. Let me go ahead, and then it's like, let me go, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I thought, in my head, I was like, I'll just have that one color. That's not how it works.
You heard it here first. We hit affiliate, and the only reason we hit affiliate is because of the community. So I think that kind of really just goes back to this whole conversation we just had, and like, I think we're all just super grateful within the community, and even to have people like Jamaal be on here with us and just have a good time. And
He's kind of a big deal, guys.
Yeah. So thanks for stopping by, Jamaal.
Of course.
Always wishing you the best, man.
Hey, love y'all. It was great being able to catch up even for a little bit here. Wonderful time. Thank you for inviting me on. Seriously.
I missed out when you were out here. Like, I saw the invite, and I was like, I'm going to try. And then my life be life, man.
Look, I drove around Denver for a week. I don't blame you.
Bro, it's tiring.
God, like a lot of my friends was like, we don't go out anymore because the traffic's so bad. Yeah. I'm like, I don't blame you.
It's tiring, fam. Like living in another state and going back home to see people, it's tiring. You need a vacation from your vacation.
Yeah,
because you're up there and you're driving to see people, and it's just like,
and the traffic. I'm spending all this time just sitting there in traffic. Love the people in Colorado. I don't miss the state nearly as much as I thought I was going to.
Yeah, that's every time. I always go, man, I miss Colorado, and then I go back and visit, and I'm like, I miss the people.
Yep,
I don't miss Colorado.
Keep saying cool, Chris.
I mean, y'all both got that good weather too. So
yeah. No, never heard of her.
Yeah.
Got that good weather and realty prices.
Yeah. Well, at least me. Yeah.
Affordable houses in the 200,000 range. What is this?
Right.
This is the Colorado in the early 2000s. Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
I got a good view of Pikes Peak. How about that?
Can't beat that. You know what? I won't lie. Despite being 3 hours from the beach and 3 hours from the mountains equally, but beyond that.
All right, I'm gonna let Chris send us off like normal. Thanks again.
What it is, guys. Thanks for coming through on the podcast, and as always, what about what? Peace.